Hey everyone, welcome aboard. We are now on another show from the couch. Yes, from the couch for a couple of reasons. Let me just check if everything's alright. Looks like it, cool. And nice to have everybody here. Got this, sorry guys, okay. Nice to have everybody here, so yeah, we're from the couch today. Because the main PC on my TV was 5 minutes ago still updating to the official RTM of Windows 10. So it's updated. It's just started about 2 minutes ago, and I see Microsoft Edge, which is open with welcome to the fall creators update, and no more watermark on the bottom. And pretty much everybody agrees that we are at RTM, and for now seems to work fine. And of course we're gonna talk about it during the show a little bit. So the news will be the news that I have on my pad here, that I will read the news items. No pictures. We'll get back to the usual programming next week, and it kind of feels cool to also be, you know, in a different environment sometimes. So pretty cool to have everybody on board. So this is the live tech show number 91, and we are October 3rd, 2017, the day where insiders are getting the official fall creators update. We're about 2 weeks away, so this is exciting and kind of a really cool moment. And of course, so today we're going to have our news items. We're going to talk about this a little bit. Got a few questions from Steve Martin. We have Tommy that I forgot to answer his questions last week, and I'm so sorry. And Marco also, 3 questions, actually more than 3 questions, but 3 people submitted some questions. So hey everybody, welcome aboard. Brian Wilson, David Walker, Patrick Manny, Tim Robinson, Farney Jr., Bobby Burgess. We have, what do we have? Albert Zappa, Christine Bowman, so Farney Jr., Josh Kinder, hello there. What else do we have? The Vaults, welcome aboard. Mr. Cat saying hi here to everyone. So I don't know if you guys can see him. Come aboard, come on. He wants to participate in this moment. So hey, come aboard, come on. Yeah. So we'll have Mr. Cat here. Sorry, but he's kind of really well positioned, so I'm not gonna disturb him and lower the camera. Sorry guys. So anyways, show 91, and of course hope that everybody has a great time during this show as usual. Brian Wilson, nice to have William Letterland, nice to have you. Marek 77, Cycler 39, pretty cool, nice to have everybody here. And Kevin Bragdon, nice to have you here. He's thirsty. I've got a flavored water, so it's quarter juice, fruit juice, and the rest is water. No alcohol on the Tuesday show. We'll have probably a beer or something a Thursday. So yeah, already show 91. Incredible. We're nine shows away from 100, and we'll do something special at 100 for sure. So nice to have everybody here. So of course, donations, if you can give us a little something, please consider. It's something that's very helpful. I'll post it in the chat room. If you wish to donate a little something, please help me out. It's been really helpful, and basically this has been the reason why I could continue doing these shows. So patreon.com/radioandcomputers. We have a paypal.me/shortwave. So really helpful in helping me continue, and it's really cool to see the support that I'm getting. And thanks everybody that have donated. If you can't, don't worry about it. You know, it's quite all right. So, first news I think that we're going to talk about is Fall Creators Updates here. Pretty cool. Pretty cool. So, that's where we are. So, yeah, Brian Wilson. That new build brings us to 16299.15. And that means the build number is not going to increase. It's really just increments now. So we've moved up to .15, and basically we are at official Fall Creators Update. So that means if you are on the fast ring and you want to get out now. It's time to get out. It's very important. It's time to get out, because now we are officially at the, and you know, everybody's pretty sure we're there. So you should have no more watermark, no expiration date in your build. It is going to work. Thank you, Bobby Burgess. It's going to work perfectly, hopefully, for you. One of the things that I've also want to talk about in this new build is there are some features that are actually going to roll in only on the 17th. So basically it's a like, you know, the photo app that I showed yesterday. There's a few features on the photo app that are going to appear. One is pretty cool. You know what, surprise surprise, we're going to get, for those that, you know, a lot of people, and 1990 Sunbird, hello there, by the way, and Alex Total also in the chat room. There's a lot of people that miss the famous video editing software that was bundled in Windows 7. When you would download the package, you would have a basically a sorry, here I'm just going to check something here on my main machine. So basically there's Windows Movie Maker that a lot of people wanted to basically you know, love to use every day to do some video editing, and it was a lot of people missed that. And basically, let me just check it out here. So there could be so on the main machines there's a cumulative update today. Just check it out here. We'll be checking it out. So anyways, the Fall Creators Update, and I think it's just going to roll out only on October 17th. There's a update that will bring your photo app with a video editing software in it. So you'll have an add-on to the Photos app, which means you can edit video, you can do pretty much almost anything like you could do with the Windows Movie Maker. So this is cool because a lot of people are going crazy on the fact that you know, Movie Maker was kind of buggy in Windows 10 because it was not made to run in Windows 10. There's a lot of problems. I actually like that a lot. I think it's a very, very cool thing. And you know what? It was a nice surprise. It was a nice surprise. I think it's a cool thing that was added to the Fall Creators Update. Now it's going to roll out with the Photos Update. That means the photo app will be updated for some people only on October 17th with that new feature. So of course it's going to roll out with with you know, everybody's regular Fall Creators Update for sure. KB4040724, isn't that the cumulative update that was last week? I'm trying to let me just check it out here, guys. I'm just gonna because you say we've got a cumulative update, and I do believe that number is so KB 4040724, and basically that was last week. Yeah, that's the update. That's the update of last week, Tim Robinson. So she's having the bug fixes that was pushed last Tuesday. or Monday, or I don't remember which day it was, but that's a last week update, the one that I talked about. So basically, and so for creators update, and there was one also for anniversary update, and they were pushed last week. So she's getting a bug fixes. This update brings your fixes the cell connectivity for mobile devices, and also fixes a lot of bugs in Microsoft Edge. Some people were reporting kind of some freeze up when they were going to some web pages. The freeze would like be for a few moments, then it would just it would go away, and if you had too many of those, you would just, you know. But if she doesn't use Edge, she probably never noticed that, because it was her Edge, Microsoft Edge only problem. So that's last week's update, by the way. Okay, so in exactly 2 weeks, Fall Creators Update is falling on a on a Tuesday, and of course it will be during the show pretty much. So some people will start having it, some people will have the rollout, and basically it's we're there, you know, we're really there. And you know what, I want to take this occasion to answer one question from Steve Martin in Ontario, that actually has a good question, because one of the things that happened, and not just the company. So he says, I may be wrong, but did I hear that from somewhere that HP, Dell, Asus, other manufacturers were getting these updates 1 month before it would be released to the public? And why are we getting all of these updates late if the release is on October 17th? So basically, and it's not just for HP, Dell, Asus, it's also for companies like, you know, Kaspersky for the antivirus, and Norton and McAfee and whatever. So there are tons of companies that are getting a build of Windows 10 before, so they can test their software. They have the time to adjust, to maybe make modifications, update the software for compatibility reasons. Typically, what they get is something that is not necessarily the finished product, but a build, a little bit like Insiders, that is very close to the end. So, you know, it's pretty much the way it's going to work anyways. So they can test it out on their machines, test out the drivers, test out everything. So that's the reason why it's working like that. And so they get a build, they can test out, and they need to test it out, you know, because it's not just us, like Insiders, testing it out, or Microsoft internally testing it out, but they have to test out their software. They have to test out the different drivers for the different hardware that they actually are releasing. So that's very important to know that. So basically, they get a kind of a, you know, a special build for them, and with that special build, they actually will. I'm just going to check something here, because I have the impression I'm a little dark and I don't like it. Sorry guys. So anyways, you know, it's kind of nice to and you know, a lot of companies really were going a little crazy, saying that they do not get enough, you know, they don't get fast enough builds. And they, you know, a lot of them were complaining that, well, you know, we're last minute every time, and sometimes you release your Windows and our software is broken because we don't have enough time to actually test it out. So that's one of the reasons also. And for basically for everybody, you know, us Insiders are getting it now, but for everybody, this is something that is rolling out October 17th. So everybody that wants to have the update, well, that's when it's rolling out, October 17th. Once again, it's a process that's just going to be basically rolling out slowly. You know, we've learned last week that, you know, the creators update is only on 72.5% of PCs. It's really a slow rollout, and it's going to be the same for the Fall Creators Update. So if your PC had it pretty soon, it's possible you'll still get it very fast. You know, and it's really related to the hardware and the compatibility of the software you've got. So, you know, people with 10-year-old PCs have been having the Creators Update on the first day, and some people that have really recent PCs took 3 months to get it. There's, you know, a way of testing that I don't know. They're testing out different, you know, configurations. Of course, the insiders are guinea pigs in here, so we also have all of that information, and they slowly roll it out. And once again, I want to stress it out because I get that question regularly. If you are on anniversary update, you're not jumping to the Fall Creators Update without having the Creators Update. It doesn't work like that. Unless you decide that you want to push it yourself. You'll be going to the Creators Update, then at some point going to the Fall Creators Update. And it's not going to happen in 24 hours. You know, somebody said, well, if they do that, they're going to push me to create the Creators Update, then next day, Fall Creators Update, what the hell? No. If it took 6 months for you to upgrade to Fall Creators Update, the two Creators Update, it's going to take 6 months for you probably to get to the Fall Creators Update anyway. And of course, if you push it, that's for sure. When are we expected to show up on the Windows 10 Upgrade Assistant? It's supposed to be on the same day of the release, October 17th. I did read a report in one of the blog posts of Microsoft that did say October 17th, Upgrade Assistant and the ISO download available as soon as they start rolling it out. So you'll have it October 17th if you want to do it. Hey, Sheriff's House, nice to have you on board, by the way. So this means that all Creators Update was done 2 weeks ago. No, that's exactly not the thing. As we were, like I just said, Sheriff's House, 72.5% basically. So there's still a lot of people not there. So, you know, it's getting complex, and that's the thing I don't like about the fact that they're rolling it out. They're kind of rolling out too many versions at the same time, because now they're going to be still rolling out Creators Update, plus rolling out Fall Creators Update, and you can see where that might become a problem at some point. I think Microsoft should do it in a way that they only have to push one version at a time, not multiple things. Like, it's getting too complicated, I will say. So, hey, Kevin Bragdon, we're getting to that Equifax story in a few seconds. Absolutely, you're totally right. It's really crazy. Brian says, still looking for anyone that has a Windows phone they don't want so we can play with it. So, the message is out. If anybody wants to send Brian a Windows phone so he can play, he'd love to. So, okay. What else do we have? What else do we have? So thanks for the donations, guys. It's really, really nice. Yeah, it was because I'm not watching. Usually I have two separate PCs that are running the. You know, one has a chat, and the other one I always have my face. I can always see what I look like. And now I can't because I'm at the chat on the same machine that actually I'm talking with you guys and watching the chat room. And because my main PC, the one with Linux on it, has a hard drive crash. So I need to get a hard drive and replace it. Hard drive failed last night. I shut it down. 10 minutes later, wanted to do something. It just stuck there at Toshiba screen, doing nothing. And when I took out the hard drive to check it out, I noticed I couldn't read the hard drive. When I put my adapter, I can't read the hard drive. Windows just kind of freezes there trying to access the drive, and it just does nothing. And at some point it tells me, oh, I think the drive needs to be formatted. And okay, so I tried formatting, I tried different things, and every time it fails, it tells me, and I can't do that. So, and the information doesn't show up. And that's always kind of a critical thing. When you plug in, you know, it's a 250 gigabyte drive, and you only plug it in, you know, Windows always tells you, even when not formatted, Windows can tell you, oh, this is a 250 gigabyte drive. And now it just displays drive D, Doesn't give you any information about how big it is, and there's really nothing showing up. So I've got two. My main laptop that I use with the chat room and I use a lot is right now in need of a new hard drive. So I'll be fixing that in the next few days. I'll get a hard drive. A friend of mine has a hard drive because I don't want to, it's a used PC, and on used PCs, I don't want to buy a new hard drive for that, So and I'm out of old hard drives that I kept around. So a friend of mine has an 80 gigabyte, and I said it's okay. I just install Linux on that, and that's it. I don't need a big hard drive. I said it's going to be fine for me. So what else do we have here? Alex Tuttle says, but my problem, I did download this build and test it, still have problems, no fix yet. Yeah, there's a few things. One of the things that's kind of weird, I find, is the fact that, and by the way, just to give you guys an idea, for today, if there's ever a problem, an issue about the image quality, let me know immediately and I'll just check it out. And basically, even David Walker has his problem with iTunes. I'm a little surprised that they're letting that one go through. I mean, if a lot of people are having iTunes issue, because iTunes is still the most downloaded software for Windows, and I'm very surprised that they are letting iTunes issue go through. I have a little problem with that, because it can be, but we are 2 weeks away, so I would not be surprised we'll get another cumulative update in the next 2 weeks before the official release, or even maybe on that day. I think it was on Creators Update that when they actually opened the updates, the people that were in the insider program, us, we had a cumulative update, I believe, that fixed a ton of bugs. So maybe they're gonna fix it in the next 2 weeks, because I really can't understand that they would actually be releasing a build that has iTunes broken in it. That would be unacceptable at all. It's impossible. Albert says, I thought it was tequila. So, Shersal says, where did you see that the version we are at now is finished? What happens, Shersal, is that what happens, we get builds, and when they're ready, when the build we have is what is going to be the official thing, instead of getting a new build, full build, we get updates to the build, and that's what we're getting today. We got 16299.15. So that means that this is it. There's really not a lot of problems, So basically, no, I can't format it. It just doesn't. The hard drive just doesn't do anything. Hey, Guillermo F. says, nice to have you here, Guillermo. Basically, it's really really a hard drive problem. I'm gonna change it for sure, because I think it needs to be changed for sure. Okay, what else do we have here? What do we have here? Yep, there will be Google Pixel live stream tomorrow, October the 4th. They are going to issue a new. We know that there's a Google Pixel 2. We know that there's a few other devices coming tomorrow. So that's for the stream tomorrow of the Google event. I'll have a roundup of that and a roundup of what they announced for sure. So basically, and thanks for the donation, Tim. So what else do we have here? Just looking quickly. Okay, so I hope, anyways, like that David Walker's problem with iTunes will be fixed in the next 2 weeks for sure. For sure. Well, they never, Sheriff's House, they never admit that it's the official thing. They never did admit, they never told that it was the official thing. Every time we arrive to this point, we have to at some point think that it is. And the fact that the bill numbers moved up just a notch, everybody pretty much agrees that we are at RTM. This is the build. There's going to be still a probably another cumulative update or two for us, but this is RTM. This is the official thing. Don't expect Donna or anybody from Microsoft to admit it is the real deal. I don't know why they refuse to do that. It's something I never understood, actually, that they do that. But anyways, you know, they just don't want to say it for some reason. So, oh well, thanks Patrick Manning. I'll be purchasing that new hard drive this week. Thanks everybody that donated. It's much appreciated, by the way. Well, people calling me up in the middle of a show. So sorry there. Okay. Okay, so anyways, we will have a new hard drive in the next. I'll try to have the hard drive by Thursday's show. So I'll install. Actually, by the way, Tim Robinson last week gave me an idea because I saw your post go through and I forgot to answer it, and it came back to me. You were talking about Linux Mint and how we could do we could do a full look at Linux Mint, go in depth into the Linux Mint. So what I'm going to do is that hard drive, once it's installed in that PC, I'm going to install Linux Mint on it. And what we're going to do on the Linux channel is go through Linux Mint in detail, installing software, checking out drivers. We're going to learn a lot about it. So that idea, I found that idea kind of interesting, focusing on one version of Linux. And you see, your comment, it's funny because your comment came back to me like an hour after the show. I was like, oh, Tim talked about, in-depth look at Linux Mint. And I was like, oh, I forgot to answer him back. But, because I do so many things at the same time when I do these shows that sometimes I see a comment go through and it's just, what the hell? So anyways, the difference with Office 2019 is there's no difference. It's exactly what Vault says, version number. They changed the year. We're moving from 2016 to 2019. It's almost no sense. Hey, I'm getting notifications of my phone ringing. I even got a notification here of my my phone. Missed call. Wow, I like that. Pretty cool, with the phone number also. Really nice. So thanks everybody, anyways, for the donations. It's much appreciated, and I'll get a new hard drive and then tomorrow probably. Dan805, hello there. Nice to have you on board. And yeah, why not? Why not? So yeah, absolutely, Vaults. Using Office 2016 and 2019 means what? You're so 2016. It's time to move on. Let's spend a lot of money to just move on to the new version of Office. At least if you are on Office 365, by the way, you're all going to be moved on to that new version anyways. And that's the thing, Kevin Bragdon. It's and Guillermo, yeah, it is purely marketing. And you know what? Because there's one thing. The difference between Office 2019 and Office 365, Microsoft is trying to remove its downloadable or installable Office that you could buy or purchase. They want people to really subscribe to Office 365. And personally, if you're about to buy a $300 Office, you better subscribe to the yearly subscription of Office 365, because not only do you get your your full Office program, but also you get 1 terabyte of OneDrive. You get the updates like Office 2019. You'll get the extra, the new versions automatically updated. So you're always at the latest version on Office 365. And you know what? For the price, I find it worth it, because just for that 1 terabyte of storage on OneDrive, it's kind of cool. So I kind of like it. Yeah, Brian Wilson was asking for a Windows Phone. So if anybody, if you wish to exchange and have that phone, basically, So yeah, I can check it out. I think I got his email, so I can maybe send you the link. So yeah, Brian Wilson. Yeah. I'm a little, these Office 2016 activation keys from eBay are always scary to me. I don't know where they come from. I'm kind of wondering if they're not going to stop working at some point. Anyways, depending on the version, it's anywhere from like 100. I think the basic version is 150, and of course the full-fledged thing is like $700. And it's not worth $700, by the way. So, hey, Silver Dragon. Well, Silver Dragon says he uses Office 2003. You know what? For 90% of the people, who cares upgrading to Office whatever? I even say to a lot of people, if you don't exchange a lot of stuff, install LibreOffice and just, have a free version. It's something that most people don't really need, and a lot of people are just quite alright with the 2003 or 2007 and whatever. A Green 9227. So in the news, let's focus a little bit on the news. Equifax. How about Equifax? Of course, we have to talk about it again. So okay, we learned today that Equifax is a company that is totally careless with its security. So the news is that basically they were warned on March 8th that, oh, by the way, there's a Apache flaw. You need to update your servers, because you need to have that installed everywhere and patched everywhere to make sure bad guys don't go and basically try to steal information. And Equifax is like, well, and they kind of totally they received several emails apparently, and they did nothing for a while. Now they say, oh yeah, but you know what? We usually do them in 48 hours when there's security issues. Well, you did nothing now. And not only that, they are so lost in their own network that they actually, at some point when they decided that they actually would do something about it, they fixed a bunch of servers, but they didn't fix the ones that has to do with people that want to actually make corrections to their credit report because there's something wrong, and that's from where it all started. And basically it just tells us that the company did nothing. They were getting warnings, they were getting all sorts of things. It's like, what the hell is happening with you? So basically it's just crazy. So 145.5 million is the new number of people that have been stolen their personal data, and for those that wonder, because I saw the articles go here and there, and I saw a lot of people talking about it. You know, that page that they've put up where you could verify if you're in debt. A lot of people were saying, well, you know, if you put Bozo the Clown says, oh, you're not affected, so it probably doesn't work. Well, apparently it does work. It's just that it doesn't reply back, well, we don't have no records on your name or that name. So you could just enter anything. On at The Verge, 5 guys at The Verge checked, and 3 out of the 5 guys, it came back saying, yeah, okay, let's move on because you're part of the stolen data. So it means it works. It's just that it doesn't reply back if you answer anything in that little thing. So, you know, so basically anything that you enter is going to work, but it's just that if there's a match in their database that you have been hacked, it's going to tell you. So you know, crazy things, I can tell you that, just crazy. And Patrick Manny says, I had nothing but trouble in trying to clear up my credit with 3 big. You know what? I have a story of my own on credit of a long time ago. And here in Canada, you know, Eastern Canada, most of us, it's Equifax. And when I was 19 years old, I wanted to have my first credit card. So I applied for a credit card. I had a job, and you know, everything looked okay. And I received a letter stating, "Oh, we can give you credit." So I was like, okay, yeah, I know that I've never had credit before, so maybe it's that, you know. So I waited a while, you know. I was like, well, okay, bummer, no credit card. So I applied for another credit card about 6 months later, or a year later, something like that. But the answer was different. Instead of telling me the what's the, you know, that we're not giving you a credit card, they actually explained something is weird in your credit report. You should contact Equifax. And I was like, oh, okay. So I asked for my credit report. Now, I'm junior, okay? My dad has the same name that I have. So I'm junior. But I don't like using the junior thing. So when I actually asked for my credit report, my dad had left back then and had not paid his cards, his, you know, everything that he owed. So all his bad credit was in my credit report. So I called him up. It's like, well, you know, it's like, well, you've got tons of things in there that are not mine. And I was a little pissed off because I was thinking, Al, don't you check with the social security number? That would have made a difference. I'm not the same person. I had to send for a for a correction, and of course they corrected everything that was from my dad except one. My dad had not paid his cable bill, and because there was no social security number or anything attached there, they couldn't prove that it was me. So I remember telling them, well, if you can't prove that it's me or not, it shouldn't be there, because that means you don't know to who it is. But they didn't want to get it out. I had to go to the cable company, get a letter. But even that was super complex, because what happened is that I was at the cable company, and they said, well, we don't know if it's you or not. And at some point, I remembered and I said, oh, do you have the install date of the cable? So she says, oh, yeah, we have that. Cable was installed for the first time July 1977. So I said, okay, well, in July of 1977, I was 8 years old. I don't think I took the phone and said, "Hello, ma'am, can I have the cable, please?" So she found that funny, and she said, "You're right. You were too young to have cable back then." So that she actually, they called Equifax, they removed it, and they actually gave me a letter also telling me that I'm not responsible, it's not me. But boy, that was the most difficult access to credit for somebody that starts in life, I can tell you that. It was just crazy. So anyways, and Mohammed Habdik, yes, to 16299.15, and it's the real deal, it's RTM, it's the official build of Windows Fall Creators Update, for sure. Woodbeast on YouTube, hello there, nice to have you here, and you are totally right, and our information should not be sold. You know, and even the you know, the tracking that's done on the internet is just so crazy. So it's just so crazy. So yeah, you know, it's just because when there are things that you do in life that sometimes they actually absolutely require you to have a credit card. So, you know, I'm not a big fan of credit. Personally, you know, for a lot of people, credit just puts you way more in the dumpster than anything else. So, you know, it's just crazy. Expert Leary, how can I take a screenshot in Windows 10? So you can take a screenshot with the Windows key and the print screen key on your keyboard. But for some reason, there's a part of some people that just can't, really can't, it doesn't work. So what you could do is also use the snipping tool. So just go into the search box for Cortana, type snipping tool. And with the snipping tool, you'll be able to take a full screenshot if you want. So it all depends, because some work with the Windows key print screen, some is Control, Windows key, print screen. It's really, really complex. It depends on how the keyboard of your machine is configured. If you can't find it with those key presses, just use the snipping tool within Windows 10. It's available in Windows 10. It lets you take a full screen if you want. And the snipping tool also is cool because you can take, you know, only part of the you know, that's why it's complex. You know, like Woodbeast said, you got to make sure the F keys are working on or something. It's a hell of a lot of problems sometimes. And if it's for browser, Firefox 56 has a great feature of taking snapshots, by the way. Second item of news I want to talk about: Facebook. 10 million people saw the Russian ads. With this, they go into the image folder, Expert Leary. They'll sometimes they go on the desktop, sometimes go in the image folder in what a folder is going to be called screenshots. And on the snipping tool, well, you'll just save it wherever you want. It has a save button. You just tell it wherever you want to save it. So Facebook, 10 million ads were seen by people, basically. And they said that the 10 million people that saw those Russian ads, only a small fraction is of voting people. So that means the you know, they had very little effect in the elections themselves. So, you know, I don't know, but still, you know what? That brings one major issue, I have to say, and it's the fact that Facebook needs to be more professional, I think, in the type of ads that they actually choose. You know, that is just crazy. It's just crazy. So it's really, something that I don't, you know, I don't understand that sometimes the fact that you take ads just to get money is crazy. It's crazy. So I think Facebook needs to clean out its act on the ads department, because it's just unacceptable. Unacceptable that they take, you know, ads, whatever they are, and just shove them there. And talking of Facebook, wow, what a hell of trouble that is. So on Facebook, they have, of course, the security, the safety check. And safety check on Facebook is the fact that you can, if you are somewhere, so for example, people that were in Las Vegas when it happened this weekend, unfortunately, the shooting, they had a prompt showing up saying, click here if you want to tell your family and friends you're safe. That side works well. But the biggest problem is that you have a page where you can go to where actually you can also go and verify. But that page is loaded with scam stuff, all sorts of scam, even some nude websites, like, you know, nude girls and everything. It's just, what the hell is crazy? So, you know, I don't know. So it's messed up at Facebook. They need to clean out their act. And Mark Zuckerberg said, I'm sorry this week and everything. So I don't know. Well, actually, Vaults, I verified, and it is illegal to run state-sponsored ads that would interfere with an election in the United States. It's something that is totally unacceptable. It is illegal to do so. So you know, well, you got to look at your keyboard, Expert Leary. That's it. You know, each keyboard is different. Usually the print screen is on the upper right corner, sometimes near the numeric keypad. But if you can't find it, just use the snipping tools. So yeah, you know, I personally think that it adds a very small effect. But you know, I think Facebook still needs to be. I don't buy the fact that, you know, a company gets money from anyone and that wants to put an ad, and you have no, you know, no minimum quality of your ad, let's say. Because let's face it, even on YouTube, I'm going to tell you one thing, even on YouTube, I've seen ads on my videos that was like, what the hell is that doing there? The latest one is like, it's like, meet Chinese women in your area, and they want you, something like that. You know, it's like they really want you. You're not even gonna have to do anything. It's like, what the hell? As for Windows 10 S, for the question that I passed, you know what? It depends how you use your computer. If you don't install anything really and use the basics of what it is, Windows 10 S actually works. The fact that if you install, you know, if you install Desktop 32 apps, you need iTunes or, you know, Photoshop or things like that. You can't. Even some hardware, you know, you want to install a camera like this Logitech camera I've got. If you install that camera, there's a control app, but it's a Desktop 32 app, the controller. Well, in Windows 10 S, that can't install because it blocks the installs. So basically, the Windows 10 S is not for everyone. But I think, yes, some people might actually have it working correctly and it's going to be fine and going to do what they want. But personally, I don't think a consumer should get Windows 10s at all. Okay, so Windows 10 RTM, we talk about it. Lots and lots and lots of people are going crazy on the new iOS 11 for iPhones, iPads, the new version of the operating system for Apple. If you guys have that, and by the way, I want to answer a question. Marco sent a question, so he watches the show regularly, and he says, is iOS 11 update okay? Should I upgrade my iPhone 6? And here's the thing, I'll say no. I'll say no, because for now there's a lot of people going crazy. The battery, apparently battery is really bad. So so apparently there's an update to 11.02 right now. I don't know if it fixes the battery issues, but people have been complaining like never. I've not seen so many people. I've seen people complain every time there's a new version of iOS. I've seen people complain. You know, there's always a percentage of people that complain, but I think I've never seen so many. And so you know what? Until they really fix it, so if today's 11.02 fixes the battery issue, why not? Some people are reporting crashes also. I saw a few people mentioning, and even a couple of people from the blogs that I watch were saying that their iPhones are crashing about once every 24 hours when they use it. So it's like, okay, it's just crazy. It's just crazy. And you know, I think maybe wait, and if the problems start getting better with the different updates they're gonna get, I think it's gonna be fine. So you know, I think in iOS and in with the last few versions we've seen the problems. I think some problem have you know, if you have an iPhone, I think waiting a little bit is not a bad idea. So David Walker did not have any problem with his iPhone 6s. You see, a friend of mine that has an iPhone 6s is complaining of crashes too. So it depends. You know, it's like Windows or it's like a PC. You know? You gotta just think about the fact that some of these have maybe a specific app that crashes or a specific setting. It sometimes has to do with something very peculiar, for sure. Another news, hey, we're not living in the simulations. Do you guys like that? We are in a real world, apparently. It's funny because, you know, there's always that thing that comes back over time. And, you know, as far back as you can think, you know, people, philosophers, whatever, always thinking, how do we know it's real? How do we know where that interaction we're getting right now is something real? And it's funny because, you know, even I, when I was younger, I always remembered thinking, how do I know, you know, because let's face it, when we're in a dream, it's so real. So, you know, why aren't we in a dream? You know, maybe we are in a dream, and that's the thing here. So anyways, it comes out today that a very serious research, says that we're not in simulation. So apparently you and me are real, and yeah, absolutely, the earth is flat, the world is flat. And by the way, did you guys see that story about the guy that actually artist in the US that actually wants to get how many millions to prove to the world that the earth is flat? What a scam. I hope nobody's giving money with that for sure. So anyways, we're in a real world apparently, and I guess, you know, now I have to face the fact that my shows are real, you guys are real, and that it's not a dream. It's not a dream. But you know, that guy that's like raising millions and millions with that, it's kind of a Kickstarter project, because he wants to prove to the world that we're all wrong. The world is not round, it's flat. We just have it, you know, wrong. It's just stupid. It's just crazy, I can tell you that. So, what the hell? I'm getting like tons of text messages. Okay. I'll have to call somebody later. So anyways, that's the thing, you know, it's we're getting we're in the real world. Groove music, bye bye groove music, and au revoir. It's official that groove music is going to end at the end of the year. So yes, absolutely, I love the build. It's fantastic. It's very interesting that they, you know, it's kind of Microsoft admitting that, okay, no, we're not. Finally, we're oh, your text messages, yeah, that's it. Personal messages from Donna. So, did you talk about the latest build to your viewers? Basically, they what they're going to do, okay? So, first of all, the Groove Music app isn't going away. It's going to be updated, and it's still going to work and do its job. It's just that you can't subscribe to music, buy music, and have streaming music anymore from the with the Groove Music Pass. So the Groove Music app is still there. It's still going to work. It's going to play your songs. It's going to play your songs if you, like me, have all your songs in OneDrive. You can listen to your music, and that's what I like. So I've got like 20,000 songs in my OneDrive. And when I go somewhere, I want to stream some of my own music. It works fantastically well. So that's still going to work. There's still going to be updates to the Groove app in Windows 10. But if you are a subscriber to a Music Pass, you are going to be moved on to Spotify. I think it's just saying, look, we don't want to deal with streaming of content anymore. So you're moving to Spotify. Everybody's going to be moved there. Very important. If you've bought some music through Groove, because you might have I bought some albums. I bought a few artists' albums of some Coldplay. I bought some Duran Duran. If you've bought stuff, make sure that the songs are downloaded on your device by the end of the year. Okay? Because on January 1st, if you didn't download the songs that you bought, you're losing all of the songs. You're never going to get them back. So that's the most important side to this. Make sure you download the songs. For the rest, there's going to be a walkthrough of how to take all of the things you've got if you've been subscribed to a Music Pass and everything, and how to basically move to Spotify with everything you have so that you don't lose any songs or anything. And well, I guess it's, you know, Microsoft. I think Microsoft just saying, well, you know, maybe we shouldn't be doing this. You gotta say, you know, Spotify is, what the hell? You gotta say that Spotify is very, 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 very popular. And so, but not the one. They're not getting rid of anything. The Groove app is still doing what it needs to do. But most of the video playback in Windows is not even in Groove. It's done with Films and TV or Movies and TV app. That is not changing. So for those that, you know, purchased movies or downloaded movies or stuff, there's no change there. But the app itself is still going to work. But I think, you know, in a world where Spotify is the big winner, and even Apple Music is extremely popular, I think they're just seeing that there's like not gonna be a lot going on. What about the new macOS Ice Sierra? It's okay. I mean, you know, I don't see I frankly don't see that much difference in each versions of Mac OS. And you know, I haven't played with it long enough to really make myself you know, a good idea of is it good or not, or better than the older Mac operating systems, personally, for sure. What is my favorite song? Wow, I can't really say I've got a favorite song. I like a lot of, you know, I'm a very musically, I listen to this large of albums and groups. So, you know, I go way back to, you know, the Doors, the Beatles, the whatever, even some Petula Clark, to really modern stuff, you know, and, you know, with Coldplay and everything. So I listen to, like, really a lot of stuff, but lately I've been back onto some U2. It's been a while since I've listened to a lot of U2, and you know, when you listen too much to a group, you just get bored. At some point, you can't listen to their music anymore, and it's been a long time, and it you know, it feels good again to listen to U2 again. So Solar Dragon says it's a little better Windows Media Player than, but I don't care really much. Still use Winamp. Yeah, I know. You know, I installed DOM Pod Player, and that's my main place everything. The only reason I use Groove is because Groove music with your OneDrive. Of course, I have Groove installed on this phone, so when I go out, it's cool to know that, you know, I've got all my songs here, and it's cool to know that if I'm somewhere, I just put my headphones, I feel like listening to some music or a specific album. Like Tom Petty passed away. He didn't pass away, then he passed away again. But I'm a big fan of Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers. And so yesterday when I heard the news, sad news, I said, hey, I'm gonna, you know, play a few of Tom Petty's albums. I hadn't listened to that for a long time. So you know, David Walker says got 45 gigabytes of music on OneDrive. I think it's on my side too. I think it's what's taking the most space on my OneDrive folder, for sure. I got, like, I don't know, 200 gigabytes out of 1 terabyte to use on OneDrive, a total. Just crazy. Yeah, heart attack. You know what happened? I think what happened, yeah, 66 was his age. I think what happened with Tom Petty, news yesterday that died and did not die, because we had the news that he died, then afterwards TMZ, that the website said no, he's not dead, it's a mistake, and then they officially said yeah, he died. I think they prepared a statement because they knew he was going to pass away, but somebody issued a statement maybe too fast. So that's why they had that mess up. But yep, Tom Petty died of a heart attack. I think it was Monday, what, Tuesday, Sunday night? I think it's Sunday night. He was admitted to the hospital, and or Monday morning, something like that. But sad, because, you know, sorry, you know, you do things sometimes and you don't think about it. So basically, it's you know, it's sad. I was a big fan. I saw Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers in Toronto 8 years ago, something like that, 10 years ago. A good friend of mine. It was just really cool, and really had a lot of fun. And we'll miss. I mean, I loved his music. The guy was really amazing. Also, his participation with Traveling Wilburys. Loved Traveling Wilburys in the 80s. It was so cool. Jedi Knight, yes, we are at RTM. We are officially at RTM on the build to 16299.15 is the number, and that's where we are. Google News. Google has had a lot of problems with news. What's happened is that basically a lot of, so there's a hate relationship between the news sources and Google, because what's happening is that Google made an arrangement saying that, great question, Alex. I'm just gonna put it here, RTM, in a big letters so that I can remember to talk about it after the Google News. So I'll explain RTM and also explain why Microsoft doesn't want to mention that anymore. So anyways, so the partnership that Google had for a while is, okay, we want, because Google wants to rule everything. And one of them was, you know, if you search for news items, Google wanted for you to find some, you know, news items that were maybe in newspapers that were behind paywalls, meaning that you had to usually pay for it to get access to that article. So Google made a pact with the news sources, and they said, look, give us access to one news item for free that we can actually put in our Google News, and it's going to bring you guys a lot of traffic, and people are going to want to subscribe to your newspaper or your online news sources. Well, it doesn't work apparently. And not just that, the news sources said, no, people are just leeching and just, like, you know, getting to the free stuff, and they don't care, they don't want to pay. So Google released kind of relaxed its rules and decided, okay, we're gonna stop doing that. If you don't want to do that anymore and participate in that, we're just gonna stop you know, getting some free articles from you guys. And that's it. So kind of, I don't know if it's going to settle anything, but anyways. For RTM, Alex Tuttle says, what is RTM for people that don't know where it is? So for a long time, Windows, you know, when we had the Windows boxed versions that we would buy in the stores, something that is kind of, you can still do that, but it's not something that you do anymore really. There was a term that when a manufacturer, for example, say HP would have at some point that new version of Windows when it was ready, and when it was ready, that's what they were then calling it, RTM, because it was released to manufacturer. So released to the big guys, HP, Dell, Toshiba, Lenovo, whatever. Now RTM does not exist anymore, and basically Microsoft doesn't want us to say RTM anymore because it's kind of, I don't know, it still has to be released to manufacturers, so I don't know why, but that's the weird, very bizarre way of Microsoft working. And basically RTM simply means, so we've kept that side. So on the build that we have today, 16.299.15, basically it's RTM, because we use that term still to say it's the time where it's ready and it's probably being released to all the big companies that will build PCs and will have Windows 10 for, say, the Christmas holiday season. But, you know, I'm still going to call it RTM every time. I mean, I think it's a proper term. A little bit of interesting news about Satya Nadella and his book that brought out interesting news items about Microsoft itself, but not in depth. And unfortunately, in his book, he's not talking enough about the internal workings of Microsoft. So basically, we know that we've learned that it was not for phone. So he was against the Nokia buying and he voted no when they asked, do we buy Nokia or not. And he was the one that was for Minecraft. He wanted, you know, he could see the vision of Minecraft with Microsoft, and actually Minecraft is one of the best really acquisition of Microsoft, because it's really adding to Microsoft's positive points of basically having, you know, young generations code to make Minecraft add-ons. So it's a great way to learn coding, to get into, you know, computer science, and basically also gives apparently it's giving a very positive image, of Microsoft also to the young generation. So it's kind of really cool. What is the best Windows for a laptop that originally was a Vista laptop? I don't know, because you could try Windows 10, and by the way, if you're not sure, you could try Windows 10 and you'll see if it works, because you don't need a key or anything. On Windows 10 you can install it. You'll have about 30 days of trial, and it's going to tell you if Windows 10 works on it. It's old, it's a Vista laptop. There is a possibility that Windows 10 won't work on it. There's a possibility that there will be missing drivers. So it might be better to put Windows 7 on it. It all depends on the machine. It's very difficult to answer that question. Will it work or not? Or you know, it all depends on the drivers. Are there drivers for the hardware? If yes, it might work. And actually, Windows 10 will run faster than Windows 7 on that machine, basically. So it's I try it. Try Windows 10. You'll see how it performs. You know, don't expect to have a fantastic performance out of it, for sure. So what else do we have here? We have an issue. There's an interesting article about an issue of Mac firmware. So, you know, when you upgrade your Mac computer, there's of course the EFI firmware, that is the portion that boots up your machine, you know, before the operating system kicks in. And basically the about 4 to 5% of Mac computers, because when you move on to, say, when you upgrade to iSierra, does EFI firmware is basically something that is updated with the update of the operating system. Take care, Woodbeast. Always nice to have you here. So what's happening is that there's about 4 to 5%, and that didn't update while you were updating your machine, and they are actually vulnerable to some attacks. And apparently it's getting more and more popular that there's malware that infects the EFI boot. And basically what it does is it is very difficult to actually detect and extremely difficult to remove. So you could be you know, infected just at boot up with that type of problem. And they say it's getting a little scary. And it's not just a Mac thing, by the way, because we talk about that, but a lot of security researchers have been talking about how our EFI BIOS in our laptops and desktops are really going crazy at the fact that basically it's not updated. Most of our machines, you know, I'm the guy that updates his EFI BIOS, or you know, on the PC, or but most people don't, and for most people it doesn't do it automatically. And apparently that's a place where there's a lot of security flaws. So it's going to be pretty interesting to see in the future if, you know, people get attacked. But what's worse with these things is the fact that they are almost impossible to detect and almost impossible to remove, which makes it even more scary. So I think we'll need to have a way of unifying all of this. And the biggest issue also, what's happening with that, is that we are in a in a mode where there's so many different companies of motherboards and everything that it's difficult to unify all of that and have that updated all the time. Donna Sarkar just posted, the era of Windows Mixed Reality begins October 17th. Samsung unveils Windows Mixed Reality headset. Altspace VR joins Microsoft. Steam VR catalog coming to Windows Mixed Reality this holiday. And we know that one of the big things that is actually coming to the Mixed Reality is, of course, because of Windows 10 Fall Careers Update. So basically, it is interesting to see that, you know, we're moving ahead. I'm not sure that mixed reality or augmented reality will be something big on PC, personally, but who knows? Who knows? Guillermo says, what is your favorite laptop manufacturer and why? I've always chosen Toshiba. It's always had great performance and great quality of construction of every laptop I have. I still have my first Toshiba of 15 years ago that still works. It's just too slow, and but Toshiba is a lot what I buy usually. But that said, I'm not sure I want to say to someone absolutely buy a Toshiba or anything. It's my own experience. But as a tech guy, I've seen a lot of PCs. The only one that maybe I'm always saying, well, I'm not sure I would say buy that, is Acer. For a long time, they were really the low-end market. It was the cheap laptops. But they seem to get better now, so I don't know. Did I make a video on updating my BIOS? You know what? It's been so long that I think I did. Maybe it's time to kind of do something, remake one of those videos. I think I did in the beginning, but honestly, I'm not sure. Honestly, I'm not sure. Let me just use my official Fall Careers Update machine and check out on the channel, did I do something about it? I think I did. Because the problem is with the BIOS updates, by the way, is that it happens very often that I will not play around with BIOS a lot on most computers. And so here, I don't know, if I look at videos, I believe I have, let's search for BIOS. What did I post? Nope, I've never done any update video for that. Maybe I should. I updated, on this Toshiba, I've updated the BIOS every time there was an update. And it and I always look at what it fixes. There's a lot of fixes. I even say, if you have a if you have a PC that crashes all the time and you can't find why, basically sometimes it could be an issue with the BIOS. It could be interesting to have an update of the BIOS. Apart from that, it's something, as a tech guy, I never play with the BIOS or update the BIOS in any machine of anybody. that I've fixed their computers. When it actually works fine, it's something that I rarely touch. And you know, like Patrick says, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Yeah, you know, if your computer works fine, it's not something. And you know, you have the risk of, if something goes bad in the middle of that update BIOS, you just bricked your PC. So it's just crazy. So you know, in general, it's not something I'm gonna tell people to do. And that's probably one of the reasons I've never posted a video on how to do it. Hey, Twitter, 280 characters. Some of you, any of you guys have 280 characters on your Twitter? I don't. It's still that good old 140 for me. You know, I like the fact that we have a little more, but I don't want them to give more than that. You know, I don't want to have a Twitter that it's like you can write a book. You know, I think, okay, fine with 280, don't go more than that. Apparently the reason they've chosen that is that in English, apparently in English only, I don't know why, in English, a lot of people were having difficulty writing what they wanted in 140 characters. But yet, you know, every time I've posted, every time I see people post, there are so many ways of, like, you know, posting what you want to say in 140 characters anyways. But they're testing it out right now. One of the interesting facts about that Twitter is they were saying, thank God that, you know, Donald Trump doesn't have 280 characters yet. So anyways, and I did see, by the way, if you guys want to have it, I saw a post, I think it was on Tech Radar, that explains how you can actually force your Twitter feed to have 280 characters, apparently. So I don't know. I don't know. Yeah, that's one thing about the Albert Zappa, that when you buy Toshiba or any manufacturer, when the PC is not from your country, you have to go on specific pages. For example, I had some clients here that bought some Dell or some HP laptops in the US, and they come here and they say, well, I try to find something, I can't find it. And I always tell them, well, you know, it's because you have to go on the US page to get your model number, because that's where it was, you know, it was designed to be sold in the US and nowhere else. So is hard drive more suited for me than SSD if I plan to transfer a lot of files? Well, SSD are much faster. If you need speed, SSDs are way better. But that said, if it's for external storage, because of the slow speed of the USB ports, you know, a regular hard drive is fast enough. A SSD is good for internal use. Fred P, hello there, says updated BIOS on HP 32-bit, and last time for a year I reset BIOS to factory settings. So yeah, it can happen. You know, these are things that are always possible. And then my last little bit of news, the FCC, it says that we have to turn on those FM radios in the phones. And one of, you know, for once, the FCC had a good idea. The FCC has said to manufacturers, if there's an FM chip in the smartphone, it has to be on. In case of emergency, people can listen to the radio. Any state in Puerto Rico where people have no, you know, basically, yeah, and it's just funny, but and by the way, Alex, it doesn't matter the limited count, because I was reading a few articles where they were talking about hard drives, and now that it's been several years since we have SSDs, they're kind of realizing that it just doesn't happen that we get to that limit of read and writes. and that finally at the end we have to stop going crazy about the count in solid state drives anymore. It doesn't matter. They were saying in that article how by testing and by also looking at real life situations, there was that fear is just is unjustified, and people go way over, really get too crazy about, okay, I gotta stop having installs because it's gonna mess up my SSD because there's a limited number of writes and reads, and apparently we never get to the limit, and that it's something that's just we have to not care about, apparently. So and I can tell you, if I get an SSD, I won't care about that. I'll just use it, and that's it. So the last bit about the FCC FM radio, they were asking Apple, turn on those FM chips, and Apple replied, there's no FM radio in our iPhone 6 or 7. So that's pretty much pretty much it. And so anyways, it is that was the news that I have for today. And interesting show today. There's a lot of questions and a lot of interaction, a lot of things, and I get like 2 gazillion calls while I was doing it. I want to basically Tommy last week had a question. Yeah, I saw your post. So Tim, for the rest of the day, I am not sure if I will be or have the time to post any videos. I will be posting tomorrow possibly my full review of Fall Careers Update. It's not going to be just a quick look at the latest build. It's full review of Fall Careers Update tomorrow. Now I'll prepare it tonight by taking notes. So I'm not sure yet how many videos I want to do. At the Creators Update, I did 9 videos from the install part up to the conclusion part. I don't know if I'm going to do how many videos I'm going to do, but tomorrow is going to be the start of the review, the full review. We're going to look at every version, every new feature. So last week Tommy had a question and a few questions that I somehow forgot to basically answer. So I will answer them today. So the questions that he's got is, and I'm just gonna open the mail here. So okay, he's thinking about, first of all, he wants to say that he talks about a few weeks ago we had a question about what's any good motherboard and everything, and so he's talking about if it depends on if you want to go AMD or Intel or everything. And I gotta say that motherboards are pretty much every motherboard manufacturer that I've seen at great motherboard. He's talking about MSI motherboards, and that he it says very stable and likes it a lot. So of course, like I said, I like Asus, but it's maybe an old thing, and there's also after that knowing the interactions of all the hardware attached to it that sometimes you just can't really think of. It's just crazy. Okay, so, and by the way, I'm not mad at you at all that Tommy is, I forgot, and you did a great thing and just resending the email so that I was sure that I could see it and answer your question, so no problem there. Always happy to have your questions, and thank you for, in his comments he says he's my #1 fan, so thanks for the nice comments there. And I also hope that I'm going to be doing this for a long time, Tommy. So, okay, you've got a question. First question is, say, okay, it's an extreme situation of that will probably not happen to you at all, but you say, okay, if you install, you know, if Fall Creators Update arrives and you still didn't have it in your Windows Update, you ask, what about if, you know, I update? So, because, you know, every time I tell everybody, when the media creation tool will be updated, update your USB thumb drives with the latest image to Fall Creators Update. If your PC crashes, you've got the latest version. You won't have to install one version then upgrade to the other version. But he says, what if my PC breaks down and I had updated my USB thumb drive and I still didn't have Fall Creators Update in Windows Update? Won't it mess up my PC to install it directly like that? The quick answer is probably not. And the quick answer to that would be, well, if my hard drive would fail before I get it, I would install Fall Creators Update. I would not install Creators Update and wait. And, you know, yes, there's a percentage, you know, if we look at Creators Update, of the people that had problems at the beginning, the ones that pushed it were mostly the ones that had problems. But then again, of all the people that pushed it, there's a small percentage that had problems. You got to remember that also, because I might have made it look like, oh, everybody that's pushing it is getting a problem. No, a small percentage of people that push it are getting a problem. It's just that it's a little higher than the people that don't push it, that go through Windows Update. That's all I got to say. So if you have updated USB thumb drive, if your PC would crash and you would need to reinstall, install with that Fall Creators Update USB thumb drives. You say that you got this little black command line, command box that flashes on your screen. It disappears very fast. I've seen that too sometimes in Windows 10. It depends on some software you've got installed. In my case, I know that it's Microsoft Office, and it's actually a known issue of Microsoft Office. In your case, it could be something else. Having a very quick black box that flashes is not necessarily a sign of any problems or anything. So, you know, it's okay. Also, if you have a Dell Inspiron 1545 with Windows 7 and eventually you need a new hard drive, so you wondered if you change the hard drive and install Windows 7, since Windows 7 now gets these cumulative updates, will you have a cumulative update or have all the updates from the beginning? It will be updated from the beginning, so you'll have like 350 updates that are going to be doing in Windows 7 constantly. The cumulative updates have started late, so they're not, it's not a package that has all the updates from the beginning of Windows 7. It has all the updates from that time that it started. So if you update Windows 7, if you install Windows 7 from the original CD or whatever from the time, you will have, I don't remember, you know, last time I did it, but it was like 200 and something updates that are gonna rain down on you and take an awful lot of time. And that's why I love the Windows 10 cumulative updates, because when you install, it's one major update. It installs everything, and that's it. No 275 updates that you gotta wait for and restart a gazillion times. Also, you're talking about the ARIS router / modem that you have, and that some are infected with malware because of a flaw. So what do you need to do? Well, technically that modem is supposed to auto update by itself. So the best thing to do is just call your internet provider, internet service provider, and tell them that you wonder if that modem has been updated or not for all of that. because there's basically I got distracted by Miss Lady Catherine and all her little hearts, all the love in the chat. So anyways, call your internet service provider and let them know, and you'll see what they're going to tell you. So hey, Miss Lady Catherine, nice to have you here. Vault says, Gilles, I would really like a read-only BIOS UEFI jumper on my motherboard, but don't think manufacturers are likely to implement such things. Yeah, that would be the ideal situation, so that nothing can modify it. You know, just think about it. If you put a hardware way of preventing writes, so even if you never update your BIOS or UEFI, it couldn't get infected, because a hardware jumper would probably be the best thing that would prevent malware from getting into it, for sure. So yep. So yeah, the best way to do the USB thumb drive, by the way, for booting is with Rufus, because not all PCs can boot from the media creation tool USB thumb drive creator. So yeah, for sure. So nice to have everybody here, and it's really nice to have all of you. Don't be sorry, Miss Lady Catherine. I love it. All the love. It's pretty cool. Is a 22 British pound Wi-Fi extender expected to be any good for the price? Wi-Fi extenders are such a complicated thing, Tim. You'll need to test it out. Some Wi-Fi extenders work great, some are crappy, some don't have performance. That's what, about 35 Canadian dollars, something like that. I don't know. If you want to extend, I would almost keep my money and invest in some mesh routing stuff instead. They're getting at a very interesting price. I mean, there's the mesh routers from Google that I saw them on sale, like at around 75 Canadian dollars, and those will be a million times better for doing that, because now you'll have the main router and the other little round thing from Google somewhere else. That's going to extend everywhere easily, and it's going to work. These work fantastically well. Wi-Fi extenders, it's a hit and miss. Sometimes they work fantastically well, but sometimes they don't. So it's just crazy. And I would get a I'd look for anything that for mesh routing that has, like at least 2 or 3 little routers. I think that's better. That's better. Yeah. The other thing, and I know it's not always, of course I've seen configurations in a lot of configurations. Often it's just because they're not well placed, they're not central to all the areas that people go with their computers. So of course, if you have it in the back of the house and you can't get Wi-Fi when you're in the front, it's the best thing would be to install it smack in the middle of the area, if possible. But personally, if I would need extension, if I would have a house that I need to have more coverage, I wouldn't buy a single router anymore. I'd buy some of those mesh routers that are way better at doing that. And you'll never have, with mesh routers, you'll not have coverage issues anywhere. And in big houses, big homes, like some of my clients, 2 or 3 story houses, mesh routing is fantastic, because you buy a mesh package, and I mean, they all connect, and each level has its own little mesh router for relaying the internet, and they're fast and they work fantastically well. I would do that rather than one single router today. I think for a huge coverage, one single router is not the way to go anymore. So hey, we've gone through the questions. Hope, Tommy, that you have answers. As for the modem, I saw Alex, the Aris router that gets malware apparently kind of redirects you to everything, and you can get, of course, viruses and malware on your PC. So it's just crazy. And it's apparently a big problem. So hey everyone, hope you enjoyed today's show. I'll cut it a little short because I kind of have a little urgency on my phone that I've been checking out. So how much would you pay for a mini SNES Classic Edition? Nothing over the price that it's already there. 69. I think they're what, the SNES Classic Edition is what, $79, something like that. $69. I would pay that. I wouldn't pay more than that. You know, it's just that, think about it, we can play all the SNES games in emulation. I mean, ZNES is fantastic in Windows, works well, and you just download whatever game you want from those, you know, ROM websites, and I can tell you, you play whatever you want. So, you know, it's cool to have a little thing, but, you know, think about emulation. I think that could be cool. You know, it's like that Commodore 64, that mini Commodore 64. It's cool, it's nice, but you have the emulator that plays and works with everything. You know, remember that SNES is going to be you know, only a certain number of games where you can play the emulation of any game. So you know, it's I've seen some stuff on eBay with like clones of all sorts of games and stuff. Or if you want to play around, you can take a Raspberry Pi and build your own emulation with that. That also is a fun weekend project, and you can turn that into whatever machine you want to play a game with, you know. So, but personally, you know, if I had some money to spend, I might be tempted in one of those consoles, but I would absolutely not pay more than the price that they are selling it. I mean, those that buy it and sell it on eBay for $300, it's not worth $300. For $300, you can have the original SNES with a pack of games from somebody. I can tell you that. So yeah, but I've seen some emulation from the Raspberry Pi vaults that work really well with these old consoles. So I've seen one with Nintendo, the original Nintendo, and I've seen one with Commodore, because these are like so powerful compared to what these things were back then, that they were kind of really were. Yeah, we gotta, you know, Alex, we gotta be, you gotta be careful. That's one of the reasons I often will check for updates of firmware on my routers, because I know that a lot of routers have security holes, and it's one of the, you know, it's a good thing. But you know, anyways, vaults, you can use your PC, which works fantastically well for emulation, anyways. So you know. So yeah, he did die yesterday, Bobby Burgess. It was really a mess up in the news. It started with he died, then oh no, he's not dead, and then this morning when I woke up, he died. So yeah, very important. Change the default password on the router. That's one of the major issues also. Absolutely. So hey everyone, I want to say goodbye. I want to thank you all for being here and being such great fans. Thank you for the donations today. It's much appreciated. Next show is the Windows Insider Hour on Thursday. Upcoming videos, maybe 1 or 2 videos later this evening for me. But the main video is going to be tomorrow. Tomorrow I'm going to post a lot of videos. And there's going to be I'm going to start posting the videos of the Fall Careers Update full review. It's going to be here, and I think that's going to be interesting to see. So take care, everybody. What's my reaction to Las Vegas shooting? It's completely, it's so sad, and it's something that should never happen. It's just so crazy, so crazy. And we've got three Canadians that died in there. We've got 3 Canadians that died on that Las Vegas shooting. So show is too short but sweet. Yeah, I know. Time flies. It's incredible how time flies when you do these things. Absolutely. So take care, everybody. Always fun to have you on board. Stay safe, please. Love you all, and see you Thursday for your for the you know, Windows Insider Hour. When I have a lot to talk about that, there's a lot of things I think we're gonna be talking for sure. So it's always fun to have all of you here. Bye everybody, take care.